We're going to go. We're going to do it. Hey, we're doing it, Internet. Hi, welcome to Total Spotfest. This is JJ. That's Jamie. That's Austin. We are coming back at you with a little full year go home wrap up. Woo! Do we got things to say about go home for AEW?
Was it though?
We're going to talk about it, but Thank you for joining us again, spending your Wednesday with us. Or if you're listening to us on the replay, thank you for giving us a listen. Thank you for giving us a watch. We do appreciate you guys giving us just a little bit of your time. If it's your first time here, hello. Please feel free, like, subscribe, follow us. Hit us up on Twitter at Total Spotfest. If you are here live, hit up that comment, hit that chat section there. We'll definitely get to your comments while we are here. Otherwise, leave a comment down below. Jamie, Austin, how are you gentlemen doing this Full Gear Eve? I know that's not technically it, but still, I'm going with it.
I feel like if they can start Christmas stuff like mid-November, we can call it Full Gear Eve on the Wednesday before.
There you go.
But yeah, outside of being bombarded by Christmas already, I'm doing pretty well.
Let me ask you this, Austin. Does that get under your skin getting Christmas this early? Are you a big Christmas guy? Do you not care one way or the other?
I don't really particularly care about many holidays except for the more recent one, which was the McRib coming back. That's my Christmas.
Now
the forever McRib that came back.
I was going to say, because they lied to us that
Good.
Rib was going to be retired forever last year, right? Never again.
They know what the people want. The McRib can't go away forever. You try it out once a year. It's the most gloriously average pretend rib meat sandwich you could ever have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not gone forever. Unlike the Choco Taco, which does seem to have been legit discontinued.
Taco Bell
that's a soft spot for me, so
many.
I don't need to talk about it too much.
Taco Bell would discontinue way too many of the best stuff on their line. They thankfully brought back Mexican pizza after 12 years. But Choco Taco, that just, come on, does not make sense. Jamie?
It's great. It's a drumstick that's easier to eat.
Exactly. It's fantastic.
I can't believe they got rid of it. But I have not seen a Choco Taco in several months.
You can buy them at the store. They have
No, they're gone. They're gone at the store. They stopped making them altogether.
Well, really? They don't have an off-brand Choco Taco somebody makes something?
I have yet to see one.
Is that shit patented?
If someone does, please drop a link in the chat because I need to know.
This is now my life goal here. We need to find some Choco Tacos.
Yeah, they announced it was getting discontinued, and then it was around for 9 more months. And so I figured it was just a marketing ploy, which it got me. I started purchasing more Choco Tacos. And then they just dried up. They were gone. I'm going to blame global warming, but who knows?
Jamie, we know that you are the greatest lover of Halloween that we know here on this dais by far, So does it bother you that the day after Halloween, it's Mariah Carey, Christmas, going to town season?
Yeah, it pisses me off just for the simple fact that Thanksgiving is the forgotten holiday, And I get it. Thanksgiving is a remembrance of when we started stealing lands and all that stuff, which is, whatever. But, it's a time for people to get together, eat some turkey, watch some mediocre football typically because the Lions are on. But, hey, they're actually good this year. So you get mediocre football.
Good God.
Yeah. So, it pisses me off. I mean, first off, Mariah Carey could just die tomorrow. And
I 100% tweeted or texted Jamie a Mariah Carey link November 1st.
Yeah, it's fair. I deserve it. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to moving on swiftly.
I hear you. As someone who was born around Thanksgiving, once every 5 years, once every 5 years it falls on Thanksgiving, like this year. I always have had a special place in my heart for Thanksgiving, naturally, okay? Because that's around my birthday, right? So, plus my family did. It was, a big deal. But I am and I got this from my mama, right? Christmas is the holiday. So, I'm not going to lie. I will not decorate before Thanksgiving. I won't do any of that jazz, right? But I 100%, when I went to Costco, early November, I spent about a half an hour looking down the Christmas aisle. 100%. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So, hey, well, we're going to get to Dynamite in just a second. We do have Full Gear coming up this Saturday, which again, I forgot it was Saturday until earlier this evening because it's usually on Sunday. And I was like, oh, it's going on right at the same time as the Mizzou game. So I'm like, well, they're playing Florida, so whatever. But we asked you guys before, and we didn't really hear a ton of response back to it, but just with life and everything happening here, we're not going to do a post show after the pay-per-view this time. And I think that, for everybody's sanity and, especially because it's on a Saturday this time here, just doesn't work out. If you guys if you do like us doing the separate post shows, please put it in chat, give us a comment, let us know for sure. I want your feedback. We're just going to we'll do the wrap up for Full Gear next Wednesday, but we'll do into the show here. We'll do a little preview. We do have a little belt title that we do got to get to this weekend. So Jamie is our 3-time defending champion, right? Is that what you got? A three pay-per-view streak?
Rainy.
No, we're not doing that again. No, Jamie.
Defending.
Wide angle and had you put the belt icon on my screen, and I would just call myself the champ until after this pay-per-view.
Shit. Why didn't you text me that earlier, man? I could have easily.
Because I didn't think
you
of it.
You just
right
thought of
now.
it now, yeah.
on Full Gear Eve.
We will 100% let you guys know what transpires with that next Wednesday. But we'll get to the card end of the show. Jamie, you want to talk about some stuff outside of AEW to start, right?
Yeah. We'll start off with something light, and then we'll progressively get a little darker.
Ooh.
Happy birthday, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah.
He would have been 71 today.
Jesus Christ.
Ooh, yeah.
Man. The cream of the crop.
I literally follow somebody on TikTok just because they call themselves the cream of the crop, and they show so many Macho Man blurbs. There's rumors that Macho Man may or may not have been a complete piece of shit, but what he did for wrestling.
Yeah. I think there's give and take. There's probably some truth to that. There's probably some drawing from it, but Macho Man was, and we've at times pontificated quite a bit about Macho Man, different points of his career, different things, but he was definitely wrestling in the 80s. Yes, Hulk Hogan, we know that, right? We talked about Ric Flair, right? Mid-South stuff. But Macho Man, if you were looking at an encyclopedia, Macho Man would probably be the picture of what you envision wrestling in the 80s looks like, with the glasses, the fringe, the hair, the hat. Love me some Macho. What's up, Rob?
Yeah, Macho Man is like, if you had to show someone who had no idea anything about pro wrestling a pro wrestler so they could just get it from a picture, you would just show them a picture of the Macho Man.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
he's the only reason I've ever ate a Slim Jim before, like when I was a kid. And I love the damn things now. I
mean, yeah. You mentioned that you follow somebody on Twitter that comes with the cream of the crop. There's a dude I follow on Twitch. He's a retro streamer, right? So I watch him a little bit here and there. But the only reason I really started following him because he started out of the blue doing this command where you type in their exclamation point in chat, the cream, and it pops up a little pop-up video and plays 33 seconds worth of Macho, a cut together of him just saying the cream in all sorts of different instances. I didn't realize how often he said it, and I didn't realize how many times he had actual creamer as his real life prop while he was saying it.
Always.
Yeah, he kept pulling him out of nowhere like he had Mary Poppins' purse or something.
Yes!
They were just popping up.
Yeah. It was right next to his 8-ball, man. It was just right there at all times.
It's about the same size, so he was just like, oh, it's just the wrong thing. Oh, this is a promo. Hey.
Yeah, I wonder how many retakes they had to do on that one. No, dude, but like Macho Man, like you can see his influence still today. Like Nick Jackson, he loves doing the Macho Man.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, the Outrunners. I feel like the Outrunners want to be Macho Man so bad.
Yes.
I love their 80s gimmick, but it's just I I love me some Mach. I feel like he got screwed over by Hogan more than anybody, if you ask me.
Yeah.
That's a hot take.
I don't know, because he did at least get that title run. Now, granted, he did drop it back to Hogan, but Hogan was the biggest draw they had at the time. And at least he was around at the top of the card during like peak Hogan as well. So it's not like Hogan winning the belt from Yokozuna after he won it off Brett in a situation like that. Yeah, I think he probably could have done more without Hogan, but he also didn't really need it. Like, you were always interested in anything the Macho Man did, and at least he got that run with the belt.
He, to me, always was. Even when he always was a second rung star. He was never like the top guy, right? But he was the guy that was on the poster, and you did the stuff and you did the thing because kids loved him, right? You know, but he never, like, I remember when he won the title, it was that celebratory, you know, kind of like when Kofi won the title, you know, a few years back, Kofi Mania, or, you know, it almost felt more symbolic sort of thing. It'd be like when Ruby Soho finally wins the title. Hey, Ruby, you know, just giving them a title to have it.
Ruby put over Red Velvet. She's not getting anywhere neer title.
Not yet. Not soon. Not soon. And no chat. I am not saying Ruby and Macho are the same. But I'm just saying Macho wasn't necessarily your top line guy, but you got to run with the title. And just like I may mention, I think last week or week before, talking about the whole Miss Elizabeth Jake the Snake feud, right? That's the most compelling thing, and that was mid card, hard mid card, right? You don't need to be the top guy to be a legend.
So, gentlemen, I ask you this, because it is Randy Savage's birthday. I personally believe he had the greatest storyline that has ever happened in wrestling with Miss Elizabeth. I feel like that whole story arc was just beautiful. Plus, I was like 8, so that kind of helped.
We were a little enthralled with Miss Elizabeth probably at that time, let's be honest.
So I ask you, gentlemen, am I wrong? And if I am, what is better?
Okay. Long-term storyline, potentially better than the Miss Elizabeth Macho Man storyline.
The greatest wrestling wedding of all time.
I mean, to be fair, that storyline covered multiple years, and it's one of the few things that's like had that long of a run where they could just kind of pick it up and drop it off in a while. Like, there was such a build up to that wedding. It was definitely the best wrestling wedding there's ever been, with
100%.
Without question. I don't know if it's fair to compare that to any other storyline though, because that's almost career spanning. But I mean, I'm hard pressed to come up with another one.
Let's do this, because I think I'm in agreement with Austin. I pontificated about the storyline a week ago, right? Let's put it on its own pedestal. But how about this, Jamie? I'm going to take your question. I'm going to tweak it just a little bit.
Okay.
What is a wrestling storyline that comes close to that?
Oh,
right?
Okay.
You know, because I'm with you, Austin. I don't think anything can beat that, just because it is a different time for wrestling too. It was longevity, but you also had a weekly show, if that, right?
So I've got one that may actually beat it, depending on it's in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. But I would say Austin McMahon.
Okay.
Oh, because I mean that was like a good solid 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
And there are so many just classic moments from that, and it was more condensed in the time frame as well. I would probably put that, just in terms of entertainment value of a storyline, I would put Austin McMahon ahead of it.
That's a good one.
I would go. It's not necessarily the same. It's a similar route as that, but I would go Dusty versus Horseman.
That's old school.
That's old school, but that's also long running peaks and valleys and back and forth.
I think you could also maybe more of an honorable mention, but Gargano and Ciampa from NXT.
Ooh. Yeah,
That was a really good one.
My closest to it was not that long, but it burned red hot and it literally took over wrestling by storm.
The Yes Movement. Okay.
The Yes Movement. That whole thing burned white hot. Like it was crazy.
Stupid crazy.
The only thing with that though is that was super over with the crowd in spite of what they were booking on the show rather than due to it. Because it took a revolt from the crowd. You know they wanted anything but to put the title on Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. And they finally had to. But yeah, that was as over as just about anything's ever been.
Which, for what it's worth, they actually worked that legitimate part of the story into the story, right?
Right.
I mean,
they made it work at the end, mostly just by finally giving the people what they wanted. But for the longest part of that whole Yes Movement, it was just terrible, nonsensical booking just to keep Daniel Bryan from winning the title.
I think there was some good microcosms that could be out there, right? But if you're talking about like on that level, it's kind of hard to, it has to be something of the level of the Yes Movement, or maybe original NWO would be something you could do for that, right?
I would almost throw Sting feuding with the NWO and hanging out on the rafters for an entire year, if it wasn't for the fact that like a year after that he just joined them anyway.
I would say NWO up until Goldberg won the title, because after Goldberg won the titles, that's when they started to do like really weird things with the NWO. They already were ballooning in membership before that, but after he won the title at the Georgia Dome, which for the time, Georgia Dome was a football arena, y'all, and it was sold out for a wrestling show on a Monday night, and that thing was insane. But after that, NWO got real wonky.
Rob brings up a good one. Kane's debut and the whole feud with Undertaker.
That was a good one.
That's a good storyline.
I would say that, but Kane's debut through WrestleMania 14, and not as much most of the stuff that happened after that, because it just got kind of weird at times. Like the Inferno match didn't really connect like it should have. But yeah, Kane showing up and ripping the door off the Hell in the Cell, and Undertaker refusing to fight his brother for 6 months until they finally met WrestleMania was phenomenal. For me personally, and probably for almost no one else in the world, I would also say Undertaker versus Undertaker from SummerSlam 1994. Because that just hits me right in nostalgia. But the vignettes they kept doing of random folk just saying, "Oh, I was at the ice cream shop and I saw the Undertaker. He's coming back." It was a good couple of months, all to lead up to a Leslie Nielsen gag at SummerSlam, searching for the real Undertaker backstage. Not at the top for quality, but at the top for just being the silly kind of pro wrestling I love for me.
Sean Brett, too, was a good storyline.
Sean Brett's a good storyline. I would almost say, no, it's not necessarily a storyline, but it kind of became one. You could do the whole Dudley's, Hardy's, Edge and Christian, because, I mean, it was interwoven. Those three were always tied at the hip for good, 2.5 years, right? Gave some of my favorite matches I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean,
more of a streak of matches, not necessarily a story.
The most recent success, I hate to say it, it's Hanger Omega.
Yeah,
that was a great storyline, and then that was it. Hopefully it gets better here shortly. But
well, and the whole bloodline thing too is it's gone past its welcome for me personally. But
through WrestleMania, it was just firing on all cylinders. It was one of the most genuinely entertaining things WWE has done in quite some time. And They don't know when enough is enough. I do want to go really back to Brett and Sean, though. My only hang up with their rivalry is that they didn't play enough into like the past. So once you get to WrestleMania 12 and then Montreal Screwjob and all that, they really never bring up them coming in tag teams in the late 80s, that they wrestled for the title at Survivor Series 92 years and years before that. There was so much history they could have like brought in to flesh out that story. And it was just kind of disappointing they never did.
I want to consult our chat for a hot minute, because you said I went back with Dusty versus the Horsemen. But our friend Big Rob down in chat, he went back as well. Funk Lawler in the CWA early 80s.
Was CWA where they did the empty arena match?
I believe so.
That tracks.
The empty arena match was great. I mean, I'll watch Terry Funk do anything any day of the week.
Exactly.
But yeah, the empty arena match was between Funk and Lawler was phenomenal.
Him versus Lawler was always good.
Okay, yes, Rob confirmed. Yes, that was okay.
Okay,
that's definitely up there too.
I thought it was. So cool.
Well, I purposely brought up Brett and Sean as well, because we're actually just 6 days past the anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob.
Oh man, that's right. I forgot it was in November.
November 9th, 1997. I was 17.
It's weird that Survivor Series was so early in the month that year.
Yeah.
It's like every once in a while you'll see a date for an old WrestleMania and it's like late March instead of April, and it's just doesn't seem right.
It's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys let us know. Comment in there. Thoughts on if you got something in your heart that's a better story, better than the whole Randy Savage, Miss Elizabeth thing, which I'd love to hear what that is. Or get something that's close to it, something that you put up on that shelf, on the bookshelf, but maybe not the top shelf, right? What would you put on that bookshelf? Let us know.
Yeah, excellent. I have one other thing for us, gentlemen, before we actually get into AEW. We talked about this a little bit last week, but literally Twitter has been set ablaze by one person going right after the NWA. That's not the rap group. That's
because I'll fight that person.
Yeah. So Effie. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but Effie they tried to bring Effie in, and Effie told the story about how he just basically told Billy Corgan to F off, because they had Tyrus as their main person, and he spews hate speech and all this stuff, and blah blah blah. And he never worked there, and he's like, I tell you what, $50 million, and like literally the trolls have came out ablazing after Effie, for attacking Billy Corgan in the NWA. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this, because I mean, anytime I get to, shit on something a little bit, I'm going to take my opportunity.
Question for you, because I haven't paid shit attention to Twitter all week pretty much, so I totally missed this here. Are they coming after him because they're NWA trolls, Smashing Pumpkin trolls, a little bit of everything?
Yes. So like I've been following his Twitter. Like some people are saying like you've never done anything. They went on to every single one of his YouTube videos and put that on there. And it's like, oh, well, evidently I got your attention. Like he's just like going after these people. Like
you don't realize that Effie's winning the second you do that.
Yeah. It cracks me up. All these people coming after him, and he continually comes out smelling like roses. It's just like, one, I love Effie, and two, this is just the shit. Because Billy Corgan, like he even said, Billy Corgan effed up his TV deal, because he had people snorting fake coke, but he's like, all the GCW guys are smoking crack in the back, right? Like it's like, dude.
Yeah, Effie is one of those rare people that just has the swag and the clout to say whatever the fuck he wants. And he told Billy Corgan exactly what you would expect him to tell Billy Corgan. Go fuck
Right.
yourself. He pulled the Christian on him. Yeah, and so JJ, since you didn't see it, his main point was you lost your TV deal. No one watches your show explicitly because of Tyrus, and now you want to hire Effie to come in and save your company. I'm not doing that. If you really want me to, give me $50 million, because Effie is this generation's Kevin Nash. He's going to make that money. He's going to get that payday, or he ain't doing it. It's great that someone in pro wrestling exists that does not need to be signed anywhere, that makes all the money they need to make in this business, just being a hell of a worker, and then just really understanding what people enjoy about pro wrestling. So hats off to Effie. He's the fucking man.
Love Effie. A long time Effie lover over here. None of this story surprised me in the least, especially the follow through of, that's why I want to know what trolls they were, because one of my best friends from high school is a massive Smashing Pumpkins fan. Yeah, always have been, right? And because of that, Billy Corgan could do no wrong. And if anybody has their eyes open, they've seen all the shit mistakes Billy Corgan has made since he tried to break into professional wrestling. Beginning in TNA, and then the offshoots of TNA, and then all this whole thing. And it's just, one, I can't believe there's defenders of it, the 2023 NWA product right now. There are some people on that roster who are definitely much better than the sum of their parts, but they are where they are, right? In NWA. Effie wins. It's like you just, the second you start trying to go after him, he's in your head so deep. It's just, I love it to death. This is fantastic.
And he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care what you have to say back.
No.
It's not going to bother him in the slightest. Effie, and that's the thing. There's very few people that are like actually good at trolling, and Effie's one of them. Like, if you want to try and troll Effie, he will get you back, and he's just better at it than you are. I do want to say really quick, here's what blows my mind about Billy Corgan, because he is clearly very successful in other endeavors, and only got into the pro wrestling because he is a fan of pro wrestling. How do you be that big of a fan of pro wrestling that you would take your hard-earned millions of dollars from being in the Smashing Pumpkins and all that, and in your later years decide, not that he's super old, but just decide, I'm going to buy into this historic promotion and I'm going to run a televised, quotation marks, I don't think they're actually on TV anywhere. Like, why are you how do you like be that big of a fan that you could be successful in something else, jump in, put all this time and effort into it, and just be so bad at producing a pro wrestling product that it is just going down in flames? TNA still exists despite Dixie Carter. How is Billy Corgan worse than Dixie Carter at pro wrestling?
Don't know, but I mean, Billy was Dixie's first answer to get rid of the company. That didn't work well at all. And then besides that, he decides to he keeps going. And it's just like, Jamie and I have worked with people like this here that are just very bad at their job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they keep going forward with it. And you can take that person and put him somewhere else. Like, no. And they're very bad at that job. And they're very bad just at everything, right? I don't know. I can't understand that mentality, because in my head, I am conscious enough to know when I'm that bad at something and just not do that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea no idea. Is it ego? Who knows?
And when it first when they first launched Power on YouTube and were doing the throwback Crockett wrestling setup and all that, people were into it. And then they saw it for a little while and realized this is not going to go well, and just everyone stopped watching outside of the Fox News crowd. It does make
Yeah.
me feel for my boy Dak Draper, though. He should be signed somewhere much bigger.
And there's several in
Yeah.
NWA, I feel. That's what I don't want to necessarily bury all the talent themselves, but the product as a total is just bad.
Yeah, like I agree. Like Dak Draper, Pollo Del Mar. They actually have a pretty solid women's division over there
They
too. It's just you want the people to do well. You just don't want that promoter to do well. If that makes any kind of sense. Like a changing of the guard. I don't know. Hey, how about this, guys? How about we start a GoFundMe and we buy the NWA?
we got to do what my idea was for it, though. Return to a quarterly road show sort of thing, right? Where we sell bill the fuck out of a show in like Houston or in Dallas or in Kansas City and Nashville, bill the fuck out of it for get a bunch of names to it, do like an old school blowout one night thing, and then 4 months later, same thing, right? That's what we gotta do.
I'm in.
I always thought if you ran the occasional show in the right markets, you could sell a lot of tickets just doing a straight up old school wrestling show.
Yeah.
But also everyone on the show wrestles like it's the 1980s. Like It's that very kind of cheesy, hokey kind of wrestling. And everyone in the crowd's in on it. And it would be a phenomenal night. And it would be super entertaining.
TNA, back when they were still Impact, they did that for a few years in a row. Did you ever see those shows they did?
I saw one of them, and it was great.
It was fantastic, and everybody loved it because it was fantastic.
Yeah, you can't overdo it. You can only do it every once in a while, but that's why you do a couple different cities every year, like a quarterly show, and people would show up for that. Like, that's just a fun night out.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Speaking of fun night out, gentlemen, I don't know if we didn't announce this last week because we didn't officially know.
We did not.
But the calendars in Kansas City better be marked for March 8th.
Yes, sir.
Official.
Mountain City.
So we know. Okay, we'll get to more as it gets a little bit later on. But we've known about this for a little bit here, but we haven't really broken it and discussed it. But new wrestling promotion in Kansas City. It's going to be in Olathe, Kansas, March 8th. Will be the first show. We're super excited for it. More details will be coming soon. Is it Fountain City Pro? Fountain City KC?
Fountain City Pro.
Yep.
Fountain City Pro. Go follow them on Twitter. I'll put a link down in the description box as well, too. Go follow them on Twitter. Stay up to date for updates. If you're close to Kansas City, definitely worth checking out here. We are excited for it. It's going to be a really great time. There may or may not be somebody related to one of the three people on this dais who could potentially be a cornerstone of this promotion. Potentially. We don't know.
Well, and I bet that other person might be a part of this promotion as well.
Very possible. We don't know, but could.
Possibly. TBD, but... yeah, I will likely be there for their first show.
Jamie and I definitely will be there in attendance, and we'll have more information coming up sooner. After the new year, we might even get some of the owners to pop in here a little bit because we do know them personally. All three of us do. So, might get them to pop in here, maybe talk a little bit as it gets closer to the show, but just mark your calendars. March 8th, Olathe, Kansas, Fountain City Pro kicking off.
Your brother-in-law? Who's your brother-in-law? And why am I unaware of this?
We're all staring at chat looking for Rob's answer here for those of you listening to us.
There is a delay, so it's like...
There is a delay. Well, while Rob types that up in there, all right. You want to talk about a go-home show?
Yeah, maybe want to go home.
Like that.
Yeah, maybe want to go home, but I was already home.
You guys did not like this show at all.
No. I'm just going to be honest. No.
I did not mind this, but I do
I liked it more than Jamie. I thought if it was just a random Wednesday Dynamite, it was fine.
Yeah, same.
But this outside of a few small things. One major thing, which we will get to fairly soon. But outside of a few things, it really didn't seem like they were trying to sell you on a $50 pay-per-view this Saturday. They've got my money no matter what. I'm going to watch any pay-per-view they throw out there. But I would have liked to see, especially coming off last week's Dynamite, which was more match-based, but last week's Dynamite was phenomenal.
Really good.
And it just seemed like we got to fill 2 hours of TV before we get to the pay-per-view this weekend, rather than hey, here's a 2-hour advertisement to get you to spend $50 with us this Saturday.
Yeah.
I distinctly this is before your time on the podcast here with us, Austin, but I remember, Jamie, we had a few discussions in the past, specifically I want to say, a little over a year and a half ago and before, about how bad AEW is at go-home shows. Because they had a stretch there where the go-home shows were terrible. Nobody on the pay-per-view wrestled on the show. You weren't doing anything. It was just lackluster. It was bad for AEW shows as far as they go. And it feels like they're starting to revert back to a little bit of those tendencies for go home.
It felt like a random Wednesday. It did. And they had just a couple tie-ins. I think I honestly, also hit the nail right on the head there. And that's what pisses me off about it. Because I'm expecting, okay, we'll get a Sting sighting. We're going to get the build up for this. We'll hopefully get a decent promo out of our father, and nope. Wasn't even there. No Christian. No nothing.
Yeah, and I'm sure some of these other folks that weren't there tonight will be on Collision, but this show did nothing to make me want to watch Collision on Friday because it's a special Friday Collision. It just kind of made me think that Collision will likely be kind of mailed in too. And if they advertise a really cool match, I might tune in. But yeah, there was not that sense of urgency that there's this big event coming up for 90% of the show.
Collision matches I've seen: Dax Harwood versus Roosh. Okay, you have Saraya and Ruby Soho. Hey, Ruby versus Sheeta and Sheeta and Statlander. That makes sense somewhere.
It makes no sense because you have Stat in a triple threat with Julia Hart and the winner of the women's match.
Tonight, so to answer your question, and then there's a Miro match, which Miro's not going to be on the pay-per-view, which I'm excited.
But I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. But yeah, Collision's almost its own separate thing, completely from the pay-per-view. So it's definitely not a go home.
But wait, we don't know for sure that Miro's not on the pay-per-view. Miro might be the devil.
Ooh. You look the
devil's a little bit
black is slimming.
I've tried that for years.
Yeah, me and Jamie are like, how much black do you have to wear? I'll wear all the black. Shit.
Yeah, all the black. All right. Let's just get through this. There was some good stuff. I know, I'm just upset because I was expecting more, and I just was left wanting, guys, and I'm sorry. So if I come across as super Debbie Downer on the show,
he's just sitting here falling a step behind. Don't worry about him.
Right? And I apologize right now, but it did start off with a solid banger of a match, and that was Orange Cassidy and Hook going against Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. The one thing too that killed me about this show, I don't know if you guys got the same vibe. That crowd was not into it, at all.
Very few times where they really get up to it. And I've heard, I don't know if Austin, if you could speak to this better than probably Jamie and I can, for sure, but I've heard Southern California crowds are a little bit different of a wrestling crowd in general.
I mean, you could say that, but that's where PWG resided forever, and they were super into it.
Good point.
I think with the crowd, it's kind of similar to what I was talking about last week after I'd gone to Collision and sat in the crowd. very similar to the Collision crowd I was in. Very like they popped for the stuff they were supposed to pop for, but there wasn't a lot of this like sustained reactions and the in-between stuff. For a lot of the stuff that was going on tonight, like you weren't super invested in one person winning over the other. It didn't give you like even this one, you know, we start out with Hook and Orange Cassidy against Mox and Yuta. People like Mox, people really like Orange Cassidy. They pop for spots here and there, but they weren't really cheering for one side or the other. And that takes a lot of just the wind out of the sails in between reactions. You'll pop for the cool stuff that happens, but you're not really getting behind one guy or rooting against another. And I think that's kind of a big problem with AEW. It's hard to call it a problem because people are still over. I think when you have most of your roster is cool enough to be likable and cheered for, I think you have a very high floor when it comes to crowd reactions, but it lowers your ceiling on a lot of stuff. Because there's just very few people on the roster. The crowd is just completely solidly behind over almost anybody else.
Right. Plus, you had 6 matches, and one of the matches had any stakes to it. That's just because of the bonkersness that was that match, right? Everything else was... This is probably the closest there was, aside from that. I mean, technically, the women's match had some stakes to it, but let's be real. Okay, we'll get to the women's match in a second.
I mean, my highlight of this whole match was the storytelling between Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy, especially when Jon Moxley no-sold the shit out of the Orange Punch. Like, that, for me, was like, yes, I want this, because then it creates that he might be the champion, but he is super underdog. So when he does get put over, because he will get put over, ladies and gentlemen, calling it now, it's going to be a huge, like, momentous occasion that's going to push Orange Cassidy even further in his stratosphere because he was able to actually slay the dragon that is Jon Moxley.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to their match at Full Gear. A couple spots in this match were like good storytelling and really cool. Nothing wrong with it. But this match didn't necessarily like sell me more on their match at Full Gear.
Wasn't necessary, no.
One thing I thought was a little weird about this match, and I'm interested to see if y'all agree. I think Wheeler Yuta looked like more dangerous than Hook, and I don't think that's good for Hook and what they're trying to do with him. It kind of exposed Hook a bit that he's in there with the least charismatic person on the AEW roster, and Yuta looked like he could beat the shit out of Hook.
At the very beginning, what I wanted to say about this match was that Hook by far was the weak link in this match. Wheeler, charisma be damned. Wheeler can go in between the ropes, right? And this kind of young boy persona he's taken under the rings. I especially love it when it's with Moxley, because Moxley knows how to play that to Wheeler's advantage. Treating him in front of the crowd like a young boy, right? You push him out. It helps him because he doesn't have to say shit, right? Which is perfect, something that some other people could use in this company, right? But to your point, Hook. What is it? What is Hook?
Pretty face for the ladies.
It's Taz's son. That's it.
They started early on kind of presenting him as a killer, which only works for so long, because eventually he's got to start like bumping for people and losing for people and stuff.
Yeah.
But like when his whole gimmick is he's just kind of like his dad, this just like murder machine, and he just looks less aggressive and less dangerous than the weakest member of the Blackpool Combat Club. It's just not a great look for him.
He's got to get a neck like his father has. That would help him.
He needs to bulk up. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, if he's going to be a killer, he needs to have no neck like his dad.
Especially, there were parts in this match where like
young Taz photos.
He was clearly just like trying to keep up, and he was doing his best. I don't want to like shit on Hook or anything, but there was times where he was like kind of just doubled over, moving around the ring, and he looked so lanky with his arms just hanging down there. It was... It
was not the greatest for him, but the other 3 picked it up.
Yeah, and I feel good about the setup for Mox and Orange Cassidy. Though, I already knew it was going to be a good match. I didn't necessarily need this piece for it, but I do appreciate it because it is a go-home show.
This is what you expect from a go-home show. You have the participants in some way kind of around you. That's what a go-home is.
Rob gets it. He needs to bulk up a little bit.
Although
He needs to get like Rambo 1, like right now. Like Rambo 1, just get puffy, you know? then he can cut and get more straight at Julius out, man.
God, those young Taz picks, though. Young Taz picks are my favorite because it's just like a... it's like a grimace walking around from the shoulders up. Anyway, sorry. Let's go.
For all those who really care, Tropic Thunder is available on Hulu right now, just so you know. Anyway, the movie that could definitely not be made today.
Yeah, we're watching that through one of the Twitch channels I'm on here. We're watching that next Friday for our movie of the week. So
such a good movie. Nice. All right, so do you guys chronologically the bright spot is next?
Let's save that, or do you want to go right into it, Austin?
I'm good either way.
Let's go.
Your call. You're pirate or captain in this pirate ship.
Jamie, what do you say?
I'm gonna put pin in it. Okay. Because we might as well just keep kind of getting shitty. There was a match between Red Velvet and Skye Blue.
Red versus Blue is Halo Wars all over again. I've been wanting to do that all night.
It was bad. Like I want to be like, oh, no, it was bad. Like.
And it's unfortunate, too, because in some spots and parts, it was really good.
It was.
There was a couple sequences where they did some cool, innovative shit. And there was a couple sequences where it just kind of looked like they were tripping over each other.
It was.
But it got some time, too. And it's, when was the last time you had a match with mid-card women talent on Dynamite that got a commercial break and a long, front and back of it? They got some time, they had some bright spots, but especially when you kind of trip at the finish line literally and you botch the finish a bit, it just
not good. I mean, that was so not good.
Not what you want on TV for sure.
Well, that's okay. To be fair, therein lies the problem with the way that finisher is. It looks great when you do it and you pull it out somewhere. But have that as the finisher for the girl, because she has another finisher she does where it's like kind of like a reverse like Russian leg sweep face plant something or another.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. The Skyfall is Skyfall.
That's a better finisher in my opinion for her because you have someone who just rehabbed an ACL injury. You're going to try and do that too, and you didn't line up right for it earlier in the match. You didn't quite line up right for it again, and you got the result you got. Here's what I will say positive, okay? I do love me some Red Velvet. She is definitely rusty still. It's her second match back, or third match back, because Ruby got flowers delivered her in the middle of a match on Rampage last week and led Red to win. She's rusty, right? Okay, I get that, right? She just came back off an injury. She's probably psychologically still like, whatever, right? I will say this. Skye is trying some different stuff. She's not just bubbly blue as her personality, right? So there is a little bit that they're trying there. Is it working the best? Not yet. No. Maybe no, not at all. But at least they're giving it a try. So there's that. I'm trying to be optimistic here.
Yeah, I would have rather they did this match on Collision and gave us Sheeta against somebody to sell us on the pay-per-view.
Why don't they give us the match they're giving us on Rampage tonight? Sheeta and Statlander versus Ruby and Saraya.
Yeah, and especially with the time that this match got, that tag match could have that time. You've got your women's champion on your flagship show for the go home.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them. And announce Friday's match. Put the qualifier on Friday, and then announce like, hey, on Collision, the winner of this match will get to wrestle in the triple threat at the pay-per-view. Like, I would rather seen that, but at least, like I said, at least they're giving some of the non-main event women a decent time slot, not in the the 8-10 hour or whatever they normally go. Mm-hmm. So we can at least take that from it.
So I think they should have done Tony's tune-up match, because Tony asked for a tune-up match when Mariah May came in there. I thought that would have been perfect, and it would have set up with Mariah there. Also for the go home, makes a lot of sense for go home. Again, I'm gonna just hammer home the go home here, because this could have been a collision match to throw somebody in on the pay-per-view. Because honestly, the women's match everybody cares about is Sheeta Tony Storm. That's what everybody cares about.
Absolutely.
And you telegraphed this. You telegraphed this here. Skye Blue is definitely turning to Julia's dark side, helping Julia win the title from Statlander at the pay-per-view. Pin it, mark my words.
That's what I want too.
Which is great.
That's what I want too.
But yeah, that's a secondary title, to your point, Jamie.
But the thing is, for go home,
right? I'm agreeing.
I don't want to see a person coming off injury, a person with very little to no personality, and both of them are still relatively green in the ring. We saw Skye Blue get dumped on her head. We saw, a botch finish, which I get it. Things happen. But, like, when it happened multiple times within one match, you kind of got to think, hey.
Plus, you're only doing one women's match, so
I think
magnifying
this is the
glass
wrong
is pulled
match.
out.
Yeah, this is the wrong match for tonight. Like, I would have preferred this match on Collision. Bring the Sheeta match over. I think that would have been great, whatever. But, like, it was the wrong match because this is a go-home. I think that's what really got me.
The answer was you needed two matches. This would have been fine if you had another women's match, too, because that's really what you needed, right?
Hey, 2024, buddy.
We'll see about it. Big Rob does want to make point here. She's now navy blue. She's no longer Skye Blue. She's navy
beans, navy beans, navy beans.
Pretty soon she'll be dark blue. Never been alone in a crowded room, but she'll be dark blue.
At least that would be some character development.
It would be.
Like just different shades of blue.
50 Shades of Blue.
I don't think they can put that on TV, but we'll see.
Yeah, probably not.
So,
all right. You arguably had the most fun match of the night, at least in my opinion, because you had Samoa Joe going against John Cruz, and Samoa Joe might have been his best walk-off of all time. Because that dude literally jumped. Well, that dude just jumped and just saw him walk and just gave him the look like, what the fuck? And just kept going. It was like the best ever. Because I'm like, that just felt so good.
He has some stellar ones back at TNA. I wouldn't say the best ever, but I'd say it's one.
What was that gentleman's name again?
I have no
idea.
John
Cruz.
I literally wrote down local talent because I didn't catch his name.
I wanted to specifically ask his name because I'm gonna give him a round of applause. That was just such a glorious squash match effort on his part. He didn't make it overly silly and about himself, but he made it entertaining while Samoa Joe was beating the shit out of him. Yeah. And it was well done. Just tip of the cap to that gentleman.
Yeah, that jump though, like he
that's
walked
Jamie's
off,
favorite.
like, what?
That's one of Jamie's favorite things in wrestling. There's lion tamers, there's other sorts of submission sort of things, this and that, strong style, Japanese strong style, more strong style, technical wrestling. Samoa Joe's walk away. That's his that's dude, what he likes.
It's so great though. Because it's such a G move, dude. Like,
it's fantastic the way he does it.
Fuck off. Yeah,
I like it when he is like in middle of whatever, and then he kind of he did one against Christopher Daniels back in TNA that I remember, where it was going to town with it, and it came out of nowhere, but he ended up like 12 feet away from him and doing this like, what the fuck is this guy behind me? This was a throwback to that 100%. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, the Samoa Joe squash was one of the high points of the night for me for sure.
I like it.
And then of course him telling MJF, he's like, we're in my hood. I'm extending my hand, Which
he also gives him the warning that friendship or not, he is coming because he is inevitable. So he's Thanos now, confirmed.
Is it inevitable? Which I thought was perfect, by the way. All right, so we'll move on to. I kind of think a good match that I thought was going to be at a higher level because I've seen them be at a higher level. Again, it just, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like this was missing something. And maybe it was just Ray
if
Phoenix.
you have really good lasagna every single night, that 10th night, that lasagna is like, meh. Even though it's the exact same lasagna you've had for the last 9
try telling that
nights.
to Garfield.
Good point.
Fuck you, Garfield. Come at me. No,
So
you had Commander instead of Ray Phoenix, but it's basically Young Bucks Lucha Bros, right?
Yeah, and I gotta give Commander his flowers before I'll get your guys' thoughts. He was a lot quicker than he usually is, other than I did see him take like 3 deep breaths before he walked across one time. I'm like, okay, take your time, dude. It's fine. But then he also did hit a killer destroyer, and like, I mean, you had all the moves. Then you had heel shit in order to win for the Bucks in their hometown, which I thought was great too. That adds to them going up against the Golden Jets, which I think I knew was winning that one. But yeah, what'd you guys think?
Again, it's one of those things. It's like I knew what I was gonna get. I watched it, and I got what I thought I was gonna get, and it was fine. You know, it wasn't necessarily like, you know, the greatest that they've had together, right? You know, but it's perfectly fine, you know? Did it serve a lot of purpose going as a go-home show match, though?
Yeah, that was the thing with it. Like, it was a fun match, had some cool spots, not bad by any means, but there was nothing at stake, and the Bucks are kind of in a weird gray area between they've been faces, but they're kind of being assholes now, but they're not quite heel yet. Penta, they just throw out there for whatever they need when they need like several destroyers on a show, which I'm always down to see. So that was the thing. It was a match. And a lot of times when AEW gives you a match that's supposed to be just like a dope wrestling match, more often than not, something you haven't seen before. And as JJ was saying, we've kind of seen this. Not this exact combination of luchas, but Bucks versus luchas is fun, but there's no stakes, and
if this was
a
a
decent TV match.
If this was a random Wednesday in the middle of March in Southern California, having a bunch of Southern California kids, I know that technically Lucha Brothers, they originated from Mexico City, but they do live in LA now. So I mean, you know, it's their home, and that's what you want to see in LA if you're from LA, right? You want to see luchas versus the Young Bucks because that's your stuff. So like a random Wednesday, if they're in Ontario, California for a Dynamite, fantastic. As a go home show though, you just threw us out there for that same reason, even though it's a go home show. So
yeah. And commentary even tried putting it over that, hey, if you know, Penta and Commander win here, they should be added to that triple threat match. But you knew that wasn't going to happen. There's a whole story going on with the Bucks and Kenny and Jericho. So yeah, they didn't give you a reason to really care outside of like popping for the cool shit you saw, which there was plenty of in this match.
So it did give me one little sliver, and of course my fancy booking island brain went nuts with it. And Rob's right. The Bucks are going to turn heel hardcore.
Oh yeah.
Like not just a little bit. Not just a little bit, guys. The Bucks are going to lose. I'm calling now, the Bucks lose, but they're going to win the war because they are going to join the Don Callis family.
Ooh. That's a broad stroke you're painting there, Jamie.
Think about it.
I think they're going to go full heel, you know. Never go full heel. They're going to go full heel. And I don't think it's going to be in the Don Callis family.
That's Sean Penn.
Forrest Gump, a little slow, kind of likable though. So, but they don't need to be in Don Callis family, and Don Callis family does not need them. Plus, the Don Callis Young Bucks kind of past relationship, I feel muddies things up for the Don Callis. I think full heel without going in the Don Callis family. They're just going to become just super big assholes by themselves.
So I actually had that same thought earlier, but I don't think they actually join the Don Callis family. I think they win because Don Callis gets involved. Because I was just thinking earlier, like, there's not really a Don Callis continuation of that story on Full Gear. And it's still all about Kenny. So I could see Don Callis coming out, because if Kenny and Jericho lose, they can't tag anymore. I could see him coming out. So Kenny loses the guy he's tagging with now, and he loses his friends that did have his back. And it's a way to isolate Kenny kind of on an island, except for Ibushi, who only shows up like every other month or so. So you got a good like 6 weeks where you got to worry about him again. I think that's the way they're going with it.
It's just like further like backpacking this whole like Kenny versus everybody eventuality.
It's a good way to a good way to tie in this aside with the Bucks versus Kenny and Jericho match. And tie it in hindsight without making Don Callis really involved in the build-up to that match, I guess is a good way to put it.
Right, but what I'm saying is they're basically pulling a rubber band back of Kenny Omega for like, Kenny versus the world for his eventual kind of like run towards whoever has the title at the time that he gets up there. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a feeling that the Bucks are going to find a way they're gonna lose, because I think it makes it. I think it tells a better story if Jericho and Omega are together, like they continue their story together. But I don't know, man. Like I know Don Callis. It's very obvious the Don Callis family is gonna be very involved. Just is it gonna be pre or post? Like, or during or post match, and maybe they screw over the Bucks. Maybe I don't know. Because think about it, like Don Callis wants to hit Kenny where it hurts most, right? And that's his friends.
Yeah.
Talk about storytelling now.
We got some options here. We got some angles. So hey, I'm all for it. Taking some angles. Let's go. You want to talk about, speaking of angles, you want to talk about different angles of weaponry?
Before that, do you guys want to talk about the coastal, or whatever the hell it's called?
It is the Continental Classic.
Continental Classic. 12 wrestlers. Everybody's been asking for this. Everybody's been asking for this tournament.
I feel like somebody on this dais has been asking for some sort of variant of tournament sort of style, something or another.
I'm 100% here for it. Like, you've got the roster of some of the best pro wrestlers in the world.
Here you are.
What a great thing to do, especially between Full Gear and the tournament finals are going to be at World's End. Great way to get through the winter season and get to your build for Revolution. Mm-hmm. It's built-in stakes to stuff you have on TV for weeks and weeks and weeks. And one thing I do really enjoy that AEW does is people beat people. Like, if you have a tournament like this, there are going to be some matches where two guys are wrestling and you're not sure who can take a loss, but someone's going to lose. And it makes the stakes seem even higher. So now, that being said, it ultimately comes down to who do they put in this tournament. And I really hope it is the best they could possibly put in, because if it's like the Dynamite does in Battle Royal and we're getting Daddy Magic and Dustin Rhodes, nothing against either of those men, it's just going to be a real letdown for me.
Well, apparently this is going to be the final for it, and they didn't say for the title, but for the winner of this Continental Classic, there better be a damn Sonic ring. It'll be at World's End, so don't know if it's going to be like the main event, but they're billing it to be a big deal at World's End. And Bryan Danielson's the only one who's been officially announced for it. Broken orbital bone and all. Gonna hop in there with a big old eye patch and do his pirate shtick. I don't know.
Yeah. So he's in. So this is getting to it. You want the biggest and baddest. You have to give me everybody. But give me a couple people that you'd really enjoy to see in this.
Miro.
Yeah, same. It's all of us, Miro.
Andrade, honestly.
Andrade, Claudio. I would
Claudio
like
be
a nice
great.
worldwide flair to this tournament as well.
Put Penta in it, especially with Phoenix being out. Put Penta in that for sure.
Ooh, Eddie Kingston.
Kingston, Big Rob's got a good one. Takeshita definitely needs to be in this.
Hey,
yeah,
Coda. Is Coda good? You said Coda's officially now signed with them, right, Jamie? So put Coda in it.
Official like a referee with a whistle.
Put Coda in this motherfucker. We could get. What if we got? Just hear me out, boys. Well, if we get down to it after the whole round robin, we get to the finals. We have the semifinals. We have Coda versus Danielson on one side, Andrade versus Miro on the other side.
Yeah, but then where's Jeff Jarrett?
He's
Not
in the back
there.
producing.
Yeah.
You and Jeff Jarrett. That's what,
Yeah.
I
Jarrett would be
would
good
love
in
to
this,
see
though.
Jeff Jarrett in it.
Jarrett would be good in this. That's a good place to stick him,
But that being said, there's probably 12 more deserving gentlemen on the
100%.
roster.
Ricky
Yeah.
Starks. Well,
Ricky Starks is one of the first ones that came to
Starks.
my mind too.
Daniel
I'll go with the
Garcia. I think Daniel Garcia would be a really good one.
Yeah.
I know you hate to hear this, Jamie. Well, actually, no. I don't think he'll be there. But I was going to say Sammy Guevara.
Sammy Guevara.
But he's on paternity now, so.
And he's got the concuss. Who
Swerve.
else? Swerve. Well, it depends on what happens here when we get into our bright spot. Yeah, you know what? Let's go right into that bright spot.
Let's talk about the brights. I have another bright spot tonight, but you can go ahead. Let's talk about it.
So we had a face-off where they could not touch each other, or they would both be suspended. So you knew that shenanigans were going to be afoot. But you had an amazing face-off between Paige and Swerve.
First of all, they let you know that it was a Texas death match at the pay-per-view. And my God, we rave about Swerve every week. I don't want to keep doing it. But my God, Swerve is so hot. So they come in the ring.
So hot right now.
So hot right now.
He's like Hansel.
So it starts with Tony asking a question of Swerve and immediately getting the microphone taken from him by Swerve, who has it immediately taken from him by Hangman, and Swerve didn't say a word, and that made this even better. Not because Swerve can't talk, but because you don't need him to talk. Right, Austin? He's got that good heat, that good heel heat, just being there. Good.
This was the by quite a large margin high point of the night, and I'm gonna drop a little knowledge and let y'all know exactly why this was the high point of the night.
Ooh, is it stash time?
I'm combing the stash for this one.
Oh, that means it's extra poignant knowledge, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So I have used the phrase "tip the cap" several times tonight, but I'm going to literally tip the cap. This segment was something, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about how a lot of AEW's roster, there's just a really blurred line. We talked about last week. A lot of people exist in the middle. You don't get a clear good guy, a clear bad guy, and a personal issue between the two. And you got that here, and that's why it was so much better, because they made you believe the stakes were high for this match. And not only any match, a Texas death match where they can literally just beat the piss out of each other with whatever they have handy nearby. Like you said, the fact that Swerve didn't say a word when he's been the one doing most of the talking was just brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Hangman Page cut just a phenomenal babyface promo. He had the fire and the anger you would expect from someone talking to a man who had just broke into his house 2 weeks ago or whatever it was.
Maybe his best promo in AEW. Definitely his best promo in the last year and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. This was Adam Page being the babyface that I think AEW really needs him to be. He's one of the few guys on the roster that is both super cool and a little lame at the same time. And I mean that he's a little lame in an endearing way.
It's true.
Like, he's a dad. He's the anxious millennial cowboy, but he's still going to beat a man's ass when he needs to. And you got all of that from him tonight. The stipulation they'd be suspended if they touch each other allowed him to cut that promo without any physicality, which you needed as well. But the fact that he pointed out, I can't touch you, but I can touch him, and then threw hands at Nana and Swerve couldn't do anything about it, was just kind of like, I bring it up all the time where AEW has a bad habit of making their baby faces look like dipshits. Adam Page looked like a man who was still very much the babyface, your hero in this situation, but also was pushed to the edge, and he was going to take it out on somebody. And then after all of that, the absolute chef's kiss of this entire segment was Swerve's face standing on the ramp at the end of it. It was the first time you saw that confidence kind of go away.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't cowardice. It wasn't really fear. It was that he just told you with his face, he had that moment where maybe I fucked up here. And he didn't have to say
it was
a
at
word.
This moment. No.
He said it with his face, and you need that from heels. And that's the thing you don't get from heels in AEW. They're always a little too cocky, a little too cool. I'm looking at you, MJF, when you were a heel. It was just always, it was always just too casual. Like, you always had it, but Swerve in that brief moment just sold, I'm in for some shit on Saturday. And it made me want to give them 50 of my hard-earned American dollars to watch the shit they're getting into. So just one of the best segments I think I've seen AEW do in a very long time.
This is what a go-home's for. This is what a go-home's for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the very best of pro wrestling right there. That's what pro wrestling can be when it's perfectly done. And you're going to get a dope match out of it, too. So they're not mutually exclusive. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The blow-off for this is going to be amazing.
The blow-off is going to be so good. And, first of all, we're going to go back to regular. That's a fantastic stash of knowledge here. So.
A stash of praise.
Yes.
Now,
so
with a little knowledge.
Go ahead, Jamie. You go then.
So,
I got a couple thoughts on it.
So this was, again, like you use masterclass. I love how you use that. And I think it was exactly that, because it was time for Adam to get personal. And that was the thing that I really enjoyed. And I wrote this down. You're not the man you think you are. It's the reason your fiance left you, and it's the reason your kids won't talk to you.
Oof.
I'm like,
damn.
Fuck. Like, right in the dick. Like, ouch. Perfect. And the intensity, like, it. Yeah, like I'm a Adam Hangman Page fan. We've talked how he is a bit inconsistent on the mic, or incredibly inconsistent on the mic. But when he's on, man, he throws out good stuff. And typically he has to be a little personal with it, because I think the last time he was really good on the mic was when he kind of went off on CM Punk.
I 1,000% agree with you on that. Yes. And the last time before that was the Kenny Omega feud, right?
Yeah.
So here is my kind of revelation from everything. I wrote down the fiance and kid line too. That one was great. I also did like how he started with how dumb he was to go into a man's house and do this. And, it's at this moment you fucked up sort of situation, like you said there, Austin. You're dumber than you were 2 years ago when you got fired. He started throwing heaters at it, which it's not the same. I know. And I'm not trying to make the same straight line comparison. But 2023 AEW version of a Stone Cold Steve Austin light, right? Is a little bit what I felt from some of him tonight, right? And the whole package. He comes out in black, cowboy in black sort of bit, right? So that's an old Western trope, sure, I get it, right? But just kind of the way he was throwing at it, it was personal. He made it personal. He came with fire, and he came with an edge to him, which he doesn't usually have. He's usually Adam Hangman Page, here to have a good match. Adam Hangman Page, right? That's all he is. Here he had this edge, and I say if this kind of becomes a continuation of it, and if they are indeed, and the best thing they can do for Hangman is turn the Bucks heel, because I'm sorry, it just the whole thing is like he was just there and part of the Elite again, and we wasn't doing dick. So this gives him some momentum, trajectory, and to your point, makes him the face that you think that they want him to be. So, but he can be that face with an edge because it's the land of tweeners, right? I like this. Have him keep the edge even after Swerve. I know it's not going to be the same intensity, but have him keep a little edge to him because he's better when he has an edge to him, right?
He's one of those few guys that can have an edge. And again, kind of like you were saying, not making a straight line comparison, but John Cena had a bit of this too, where he could have an edge when you needed him to, but he just looked like too nice of a guy for you to like really hate him.
Yeah.
And that makes for a great baby face. I don't think the comparison between Hangman and Stone Cold is that far off. I just think Stone Cold was a little more, to steal some D&D terms, was a little more chaotic neutral, and Adam Page is just chaotic good.
Right.
Like he's just a good guy. But he's got that edge, and you can bring it out of him. And that's what they did tonight. And the other thing about this whole storyline leading up to this match, kind of going back to what I was saying about the tournament, someone's going to lose.
Yep.
And I could see it being either way, but it's one of those matches where you don't get this very often in pro wrestling, almost never in the other company, but where you get two guys where you see both of them as like almost kind of unbeatable guys, but someone's got to lose.
My request, Tony Khan and others, is not to immediately come back with a, take 3 of this. Please. I know it'll hurt the person who loses in the intermediate, but this is so good, and this payoff's going to be great on Saturday. If we get this again in a month, I think it's going to diminish the story a little bit. You got to let it percolate if you want it to. Let them kind of do some other things. And then if you want to come back to it, you can come back to it. I think you've got goal accomplished. You got Swerve with his eyesight where he needs to be as far as trajectory, right? And where he is on the level with, in the company. And I think you got your big baby face coming out of it regardless, right? Mm-hmm. Don't beat this over the head with 50-50 booking. Please, God.
Couldn't agree more.
One last thing. Sorry, I meant to get this earlier. I totally missed it. I love the Nana pieces of this because it delivered my favorite line of the night. When he's telling him about how Nana's using him to sell shirts and all this stuff, and he takes that money, he goes buys weed from the high school kid in the parking lot. Well, after I get done kicking your ass, Nana, I'm going to beat your ass and steal your weed. Yeah, best line ever.
The Nana stuff was great. The Nana stuff was up. The entire segment was just S-tier pro wrestling TV from top to bottom.
There better be I'm going to beat your ass and steal your weed t-shirt somewhere. That's all I'm saying. I might have to make it. Fuck it.
I'm going to beat your ass and steal your weed. It's the best.
So good.
All right. Well, and honestly, gentlemen, this is where it really starts turning into a go-home show. Like that moment, and then the rest of the stuff they're getting ready to talk about does a really good job of pontificating towards the go-home-ness of a go-home show. So after this, you had the Guns with Juice going up against Peter Avalon and Dean Alexander. Shout out Dean, Kansas City boy. My favorite part of the whole damn thing is when right after the entrance the dark lights on, or just the spotlight, sorry, on the guns, and they go back and like there's so much of this smoke and everything, you could hear Juice go, "I can't see anything."
I love Juice Robinson.
I hope
Juice
Juice is
so
in
much.
that tournament.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Juice. And Juice's gear, did you all see his gear? He's got a gun holster like built into his gear. I'm like, dude, that's perfect.
Juice is
That is
off his rocker.
perfect.
Fantastic. I love it.
I mean, the guns beat the shit out of the not so local talent. But then they cut a promo and they vow to beat MJF. They did this 2-on-2 and this is good. It's gonna be a 2-on-1 and all this stuff. And then the next best part of the entire match and everything was after they hit the 310 to Yuma, they got the pin, and here comes Juice pretending he's a dog, pissing on Dan Alexander's face. Best thing ever.
I love Juice Robinson.
Oh, he's so good.
On national TV, just pissing on a guy like he's a dog.
He does that, and he gets to go home to Tony Storm every night. Life must be rough for that dude.
You know what's hilarious? We talked about this. I guarantee you that probably you get home and it's the most dull, boring house ever. They're just sitting there quietly drinking some tea, watching a little NCIS or something. Very.
I like to think he takes Card Blade home with him.
I hope so.
I just got this image of him at home eating dinner with his wife, like they're having chicken and broccoli or whatever, and like they have 3 seats set up. It's those two right here and the Card Blade right there.
Like a whole plate sitting in front of him.
Yeah. And Tony's like, "Why do we gotta get out a plate every time?" He goes, "He's right here. Stop it. Don't talk to him about that."
How great of a segment would that shit be?
That's why they got it. Well, unfortunately, Tony Storm's got legs on her own, because I think that, I mean, there's no chance they're pulling her into the Bullet Club, Austin, especially since they give her own like sidekick now. But if they did, that would be fantastic.
At least that's in the back pocket for later on. They can still go to that when they need to.
Just think about this though, like that would be a great segment, and it's been proven. Tony Khan does listen to this show because he did take some pointers from us just recently.
He did.
So this needs to happen, Tony Khan. I know you watch us and you don't subscribe to us, but you should. Anyway, if you're also watching and you're not like and subscribe, please do that. Appreciate it. It does a lot for us, and we're really funny. At least I am. And you have this just gold mine right there of those two, and then it's gonna hit, and when it hits, guys, it is going to be so effing glorious that we get those two together doing vignettes and everything. And like they should have it like where he does it, where he has his like hair slicked back but still like kind of crazy in the back, but like just the top is like slicked back because he has to look the part for her. Oh yes, make this happen.
One day.
Speaking of Tony Storm, were you gonna did we pass her?
We went right past her promo. Let's talk. You can talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I just wanted to bring up how phenomenal it was. I mean, it's always great, but yeah, this week's her just dedication to this character, it's hilarious, but not just inherently silly at the same time somehow. That vignette with Mariah May was fantastic.
I can't wait for you guys to actually see Mariah May wrestle. Like, girl can go.
I've seen her do some wrestling. I've seen her do some Stardom matches.
She's not just a pretty face, gentlemen. She could wrestle.
She is. It is Mickie James. She can wrestle, and this is 100% the Mickie James storyline. Mickie James could wrestle like a son of a bitch too.
Oh, dude, so good. Can't effing wait. All right. So after this, you had a quick little War Daddy thing about how he's gonna beat MJF. That's okay. He's gonna make the devil his bitch. Great.
Okay, Wardlow.
And then you had chaos. This is probably the best way I could put it. You had the Like a Dragon Gaiden street fight. Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Kota Ibushi, Paul White versus the Don Callis family of Takeshita, Powerhouse Hobbs, Kyle Fletcher, and Brian Hobbs.
Brian Cage.
Or
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
They used to be tag. Remember when they were partners? And
Yeah,
then they hated
talked
each other,
about
and now they're
old
back
Team
together?
Taz partners. Yep.
Yeah. This match was just a shit show, but in the best possible way. Does that make sense?
I loved this more than I had imagined I would, because I was all like, "Oh, Paul White, this is gonna suck."
They tried to kill Kota Ibushi. They legit tried to kill him.
They tried to kill him. They might have killed Paul White. They pulled a fucking bicycle into a spot, which I haven't been on my bike as much lately since I had all my back issues, but my God, a bicycle into a spot.
My God.
And then they used it as a like, they actually started to get, they were actually not far off. There is a ton of sharp angles on a bike, especially the part they were hitting Kota with. It's amazing there wasn't blood everywhere.
The brainbuster on the bike looked brutal.
Right on the derailleur, right on the place with all the gears and the wire sticking out, and all this. The pedals, they had like the old flat pedals that are sharp as fuck around the edges. It's unbelievable. Yeah, pipe. They went everywhere. They did a very smart thing with Paul White after he slightly murdered Kyle Fletcher off of the ramp. Him and Will Hobbs go out to the garage area, the loading dock, and I was surprised to see Hobbs power slam Paul White. Not gonna lie, that did surprise me.
Yeah, that was a cool spot.
That was a really cool spot.
So, while I probably enjoy gimmicky street fights, especially ones that are just there to put over a sponsor more than most, there's something inherently carny in pro wrestling about putting an entire match around a sponsorship you got, and I'm here for it 100% of the time. I actually did not really care for this one. There were definitely some cool spots, but I thought it was like 75% just mindless brawling and filler.
Good point.
And it probably didn't need half an hour.
See, I like this one infinitely times more than I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre street
fight.
I
love that one.
I enjoyed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one.
This one,
because it didn't go 30 minutes. This one, I don't know how you have like a match this big in the scope of like the episode Dynamite and have Brian Cage in it. And nothing against Brian Cage. I don't even dislike his work. There was just nothing interesting about anything they've ever had him do. So like I would have liked to see him replaced with literally anybody else you might have been able to get for this. But it was, like I said, there was a lot of cool spots in it, and it picked up towards the end. They did some cool stuff, but like a lot of it was just everyone was kind of sectioned off, just kind of randomly fighting. And there was a lot of stuff that just looked really weak. Jericho's bat shot at the end going to the finish looked like he never came close to him. When Ibushi was riding the bike with the pipe, it was a funny spot, but he was basically just like poking people with it. And they were bumping for it. A lot of stuff didn't connect for me, but like the big stuff they did was all super cool.
See, I'm 180 from you. I loved this. And I know that some of the spots, especially the bike spot. Well, first of all, trying to ride a bike that had two tires that were definitely half filled at best. I looked at that rear tire and I go, that's not good. So kudos for him for being able to ride that fucker for one. And then act like he was using a pipe, but then he got a wicked clothesline off of it as a payoff at the end.
Which was awesome.
I like Brian Cage's work. I mean, I know you're not a big fan of him, Austin, for a lot of stuff. Like not necessarily in ring, but in general. I mean, I like what he does in the ring, and I think to me, I'm cool with it. The second rope superplex he did inside out to the two tables on the outside.
Yeah, that was cool.
Kenny, that was cool looking. Kyle Fletcher looked good. He sold really well when he needed to sell. I think I still love me some Kyle Fletcher. I think he's got a bright ass future.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird to me, and this is one of those things where I'm applying too much logic to pro wrestling, but
stop it.
I watched Kyle Fletcher tombstone Kota Ibushi through a big sign and several chairs on the floor. And then like a minute and a half later or whatever, Ibushi's handing Kenny Omega a chair, and Kyle Fletcher's still like selling down from that spot. And I was very confused why like he was just dead and out for just landing on his knees.
Just
But
don't worry about it. It's fine.
Ibushi was good to go. Again, one of those things where I'm looking into it too much. Minor thing that doesn't matter.
Right.
But I did find that funny.
I enjoyed the
Really quick question for y'all. Does Ibushi look a little slower like every time he's on AEW TV?
So,
this pains Jamie to even say that.
I noticed it, and I was going to bring up something very similar. I don't think Ibushi has not translated. He is not caught on to the American style of wrestling.
That's fair.
You know, because we are a much faster pace, you know, and the strong style, very slow, very deliberate. Hey, Commander did great over there. But he is not that guy here yet. He hasn't figured it out. Plus, a part of his agreement, which I was able to read some of it, he's still allowed to live in Japan, so he's going to have very few dates, you know, but he's got all the stuff, so he's going to be mainly doing Japanese-style wrestling, so he is going to be more like this until he gets over here on a regular basis and gets to do American-style wrestling, because he can do it. He's got it in him, but man, yeah, I saw it too. I'm like, come on, bro, like, where's that other gear we all know you have?
Yeah, and it wasn't that it looked bad. It was just that second gear was missing.
Or like he was out of place, you know, where he was just kind of standing and walking around while Kenny's getting the shit kicked out of him from two guys at once, right? You're supposed to be down low selling your hurt, you know, instead of just literally just walking around the ring, right? You know, you could tell it's like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing right now he doesn't know where the camera is. He's in the wrong spot. You know, it's just that, like you said, Jamie, and you look at other people, other big names from Japanese wrestling, you know, thinking of, the Rainmaker or, you know, any of these other ones. They've had other stints in other American promotions in the past, right?
Well, you gotta remember Kenny, the first few matches in AEW, how he always like point at the ropes, then go, you know, the super Japanese style. He has got that out of his system now. Like he's full on American wrestling now.
Yeah, it just takes a little accompaniment. So I think Kota actually looked better in this match. Now, he's been in a lot of gimmick matches. He's been back, right? You know, multi-person. But I think he looked better in this match than he's looked in any other AEW match thus far here. I think as a
that's
whole.
fair to say.
As a whole.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Definitely.
Yeah, but anyway, Jericho, Omega, Bushi, and Big Show. They win, even though Big Show's probably dead.
You know, that might be a thing.
It was funny to me that Hobbs like slams Big Show on the limo, and then they're clearly like gonna put him on a stretcher, get him out there, whatever. And then Hobbs just doesn't show up for like another 15 minutes before he decides to come back out and rejoin the fight.
I mean, I'd stop by the concession stand and get some Dippin' Dots, you know. Okay,
I think he was just hanging out back there. He's like, if they get in trouble, I'll run out there, but might as well take the night off.
So good.
All right.
Well, after that, you had the babyface of babyface promos from MJF, in which he gets brutally attacked by the Bullet Club. No Devil, really.
No, he's issued a warning to the Devil Mask person. Whoever you are, I'm gonna find. He did the whole like Liam Neeson Taken thing, you know, pulled it out.
Well, we did get the little cut to the Devil at the end of the Wardlow promo, because Wardlow's gonna make MJF his bitch apparently.
Yeah,
so he said.
Which by the way, Devil-wise, I want to give you guys this update because I got this from the old dirt sheets. Like 3 of them said it, so I feel like it's an accurate thing to say. The rumors that CM Punk is definitely not a thing, or that'd be like the greatest work of all time. Like
I
the
mean,
people.
that would be the work of works if that actually happened. I would literally shit my pants if that happened.
That wouldn't even be a good work. Like,
agreed.
Storyline wise, if it is CM Punk, is Tony Khan in on it? Because Tony Khan walked out in front of the Chicago crowd and said, "I fired this man because he beat up Jack Perry." It really doesn't make sense for CM Punk to be the devil when you look at like the whole storyline and the company as a whole. I get why people want it to be, but like, nah, the dude punched Jack Perry and he's gone.
1,000% not CM Punk. There's no way.
Yeah. And then the other name that was also eliminated, Britt Baker.
Okay. I thought that was a very interesting theory. I like the idea of it just to add like an extra complexity to the.
I like the Britt Baker one because like CM Punk is just wishful thinking for people. They're like, oh, I hope it's really Punk and he's back. Britt Baker makes sense in the context of everything else that's going on.
Right.
And it's an interesting thing to do with Britt Baker to get her involved in something else.
And it's a way you can sidestep the Adam Cole thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's a big shock. It's Britt? It was Britt all along? Boom.
Well, and like if it is Britt, she's clearly aligned with Adam Cole too. So I mean, it could be it could be a multiple devil thing. Like you never know.
Apparently they've been ruling it out that not Britt Baker. So,
Yep.
So what are your thoughts there, Jamie? You go ahead and start us off here. The devil.
The devil is? Oh, it's Adam Cole.
We know it's Adam Cole, but is it going to be revealed as Adam Cole at Full Gear?
Yeah, absolutely. On a video. He's not even going to be there.
Ooh.
His henchmen are going to attack, which will be the Kingdom and
Roddy
and Kyle O'Reilly.
They never ruled out Kyle O'Reilly as being the devil. I just wanted to point that out there.
No, he's ruined his run as Cool Kyle and all that. Like he's relegated to being just a minion.
I'm sticking to my Kyle O'Reilly theory. That the henchmen are going to be revealed. The devil's going to be Kyle O'Reilly. It's going to confuse the fuck out of MJF. And then here comes Cole from the sidelines. He was behind it all along. But he is not displayed as the devil on reveal. It's a big swerve.
Mm-hmm. Or they have like 5 people come down with the devil mask on. And then he rips off the mask of all of them. It's just random people. And then there he is on the big screen. Takes it off. Laughs. Kisses Alicia Atout, whatever his girlfriend's name is. And just waves.
Austin?
I think you're going to see the devil. And you're slowly going to see a potato chip come up and get eaten under the mask, and he's going to rip it off, and it's Hook.
Yeah, there you go.
How to kill one of the best promos you got of the year.
There's zero chance in hell this was happening, but I randomly thought about this earlier. It would be one of those swerves that makes no sense, but I think everyone would get on board with if Orange Cassidy was the devil. He just takes a 180. Like, he's been slowly, like, changing a little bit. It just turns out he's just here to, like, fuck everybody's shit up. And Orange Cassidy decide he's going after the world title or whatever. You'd need to flesh it out. There's no chance in hell it would happen. But I think that's one of those things that everyone would be like, cool, we're going with this. Make Orange Cassidy the devil. I'm down. I
mean, and we're being very creative with this.
Yes.
I think we all know 99.9% that if they unmask the devil at Full Gear, I'm still not convinced it's going to happen, okay? If they unmask the devil at Full Gear, it's going to be Adam Cole. And the other 3 people are going to be Roddy and the Kingdom. We know that. I mean, it's going to be much simpler, to be honest with you, more than likely.
I do hope they do the multiple devil thing, though, where
I like the
they all unmask, and it's Roddy and the Kingdom and Adam Cole, and like they were clearly all in on it together.
And I like the screen idea. I like doing it as a swerve where it's Kyle or Roddy or whatever, just to kind of like give that momentary hesitation to because he can do that, then bring out Cole, and MJF could be like, look, it's your boy, it's your boy, it's your boy. And he can act mad for a second and then turn, right? I like that too. More than likely, it's going to be Cole under the mask with the three of them. Let's be honest. So.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just taking wild swings and throwing out stuff that I think would be funny, because it
Style of Rose, y'all.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to be anyone but Adam Cole. Whether Adam Cole's physically the one under the mask, but like clearly he's got to be the one pulling the string.
No, Jamie's on something here. Nyla Rose is affiliated and partners with Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir is married to Roderick Strong. It's Nyla Rose.
I mean, I'd be in, because Nyla's Twitter game is unmatched.
Well, we're going to stop playing our Kevin Bacon game here. We're going to talk about pay-per-view. So
hold on. Before we get to the pay-per-view.
Did I miss something? What did I miss?
There was something that was announced on Twitter. They kind of talked about it on the show.
Oh, I missed it. Then.
There is going to be a signing at Full Gear of a wrestler, very well known throughout the world. It's Mercedes Moné, right?
It's L.A. Yes.
That makes the most sense.
I mean, it wouldn't be Dolph, because Dolph's not up yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else would still be out there that would be a big deal.
I mean, Ospreay potentially, but
I thought Ospreay wasn't until January that he was.
So you still it's a little early for Ospreay. I mean, I don't know who else you got out there. Maybe it's Effie.
Total
that would be fucking hilarious.
NWA.
Hey, Tony has $50 million.
It used to only be 40. He always would on Twitch. He always would tell him, Tony Khan, $40 million. I'll do it. Now it's 50. I mean, inflation happens. So.
Well, that's for NWA.
That's the Billy Corgan tax.
Number's 50.
That's the Billy Corgan price.
It's gotta be Mercedes. I don't know who else it could be, man.
So, JJ, let's run through that Full Gear
card. Do you have it pulled up? I don't have it pulled up.
I don't have it pulled up. I can have it pulled up.
All right. I'll start while you pull it up. So we got, of course, the main event. We got MJF versus Jay White. Okay. Austin has already pinned this in. Not even penciled. He's already pinned this in on our little pick sheet form. It's going to be Jay White. He's been screaming about it.
I will fly to LA and hit MJF with a chair if I have to. Jay White's leaving with that belt.
I tend to agree with you. I think the story of MJF is much better, especially I like the angle of, because it's near the end of the year. They can do the whole like, oh, he's not going to sign his contract. He's already signed it. He's not going to sign his contract thing because he doesn't have the belts anymore.
I don't know if he signed it because he's not on any of the All-In promotion stuff.
I think that's follow through. I think that's good follow through for.
Yeah, I think he's already signed an extension, and that's just a storyline.
Like, for what it's worth, and we gave Tony a lot of shit for a lot of times about long-term storytelling, mainly on the women's side. They've had some good hits with it. The whole Hangman Omega thing, good long-term storytelling. They have some good long-term story they were building up with Punk until he fucked that all up, right?
That's fair.
I mean, they can do good long-term, so I think that's follow through on this, story. But I'm all for Jay White. You on Jay White train, Jamie? Taking the belt off Max?
Depends if the devil reveals himself. Now, I'm on the fence now. I feel like if the devil reveals himself here, it's Jay White. If the devil doesn't reveal himself here, or actually, sorry, if the devil reveals himself here, it's not Jay White. Because then you're going to set up at World's End MJF versus the devil for the belt.
Okay.
But the devil never said they were coming for the belt. They haven't said anything. The devil seems to just be coming after MJF.
That's just what it seems like, again, too. They haven't said shit.
That story just, it does not need the title. It's time to move on to something else with the title. Like, it's got to go to Jay White. It's time.
That's where my thought
I agree, but that's where I've been, but now I'm like on the fence all the time.
Well, we haven't got our picks in finalized, so you can mull it over for a couple more days here, Jamie.
Yeah, the champ will do that.
We also have the women's title, so we actually got 2 women's matches on this pay-per-view. Hopefully, one of them's probably gonna be in the buy-in.
0 hours, sir.
Hikaru, whatever. What they need. I
It's
feel
0 hour except for Double or Nothing.
and I always mess it up. Like even when it is 0 hour, I say buy-in. When it's buy-in, I say 0 hour. I can't fucking win.
You just have to say buy-in once a year,
Shut
dude.
up. All right, so we got 0 hour. Have the same, just whatever. The 0 hour. Okay, now I don't know what to talk about. Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm for the women's title. I don't want them to take the belt off of Shida so soon, but it just feels like there's no. It's got to be Tony. You know?
Tony. That's Tony.
I just hate seeing Shida have another short reign. Right. That's just me. But to your point, Austin, move that belt around, right?
Yeah. I mean, if she is going to get short reigns, at least she's getting the quantity in there, and she can just be that transitional champion when they need it. But I think it's time to put the title on Tony.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Especially if the signing that they're making is Mercedes Moné.
Oh, it makes absolute sense to have that.
What a better way. Like, there's no better way to like keep going with this Toni Storm character for her getting the spotlight, beating Shida, and then immediately someone else steals the spotlight because they announce they've signed Mercedes Moné.
I mean,
like,
if it's Mercedes Moné, she's not. She will come in and either be for the title or have a main kind of like focus, right? You know, you can't just have her come in and wrestle Skye Blue.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully not.
Well, she can wrestle Skye Blue, but it'll be as a squash match in her build up for whatever feud she's going after.
Man.
All right, go for the rest of the card here. What we got?
We got Hanger Swerve 2.
I don't.
This is the one I am not 100% on.
If I had to pick, I'd say Swerve. I'm already thinking about changing. I don't know. I have no idea who to pick on this.
I am going with Hanger in this one to be consistent with my pick of Jay White winning later, because I think Hanger can go and be Jay White's first title defense, and he can not leave with the title and not lose anything there. I think that's a good thing to move Hanger into, and Jay White, once Jay White takes the title. I also think this is a match Swerve doesn't lose anything by losing. He's the bad guy. He probably should lose the Texas Death Match after he broke into a man's house and like talked to his son. Still could go either way. Like, I certainly would not be disappointed by Swerve pulling this out, but I got to go with Hanger on this one.
I'm with you there. I'm gonna keep bouncing back and forth on this, but
Yeah, I'm Hanger right now, but don't ask me more. All right. Speaking of seconds, you have Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley for the AEW International Championship 2.
I like Orange retaining.
Same.
I do.
It
What
just,
you said
the
earlier.
story is
I thought for sure it's
built
gonna
up
be
beautifully.
Moxley, but what you said earlier, I'm like, that's really good, man. I do like that. So yeah, I like Orange retaining.
Big fan of that one. Then you have the Bucks versus the Golden Jets.
I'm going on the Bucks winning. What I
Same.
said earlier about the whole putting Kenny into a dark place. He hasn't won 3 straight pay-per-views. They made mention of it. Make it 4, right? Now he can't team with Jericho, and the Bucks hate him, right? Hanger's off doing his own thing. You got to bury that down there so that he can slingshot back to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, I feel like the Jets are going to win somehow.
I mean, Jericho's involved, so that's not a bad pick.
I'm going with the Bucks just because I don't want to see Jericho get a tag team title shot
Yeah,
or
same.
do much of anything these days in AEW.
And hopefully this will
That's a
maybe
good point.
push him that way.
You have MJF and Unknown
Samoa Joe.
versus the Guns. Yes, Joe. It's got to be Joe.
It's got to be Joe, but I hope it's Bill Ass.
Oh yeah. He's not the one who went through the The
He
glass.
went through the plate glass. No.
He was just sitting against the wall. Like, he just didn't feel like getting up and helping out.
He is like 60 something. So, I mean,
Yeah.
like legit, he's like 60. I think the guns. I think the whole story with MJF works by taking all his gold off of him, right?
Yes. And
Guns up, man.
the Guns even brought it up in a promo last week. The ROH tag titles have been defended like once since they won them. Twice, whatever.
I mean, we know that the ROH titles, other than the women's title, are just throwaway titles right now, pretty much.
But it is also it's a nice little
He's
trophy
not
to throw in the Guns too, especially when Jay White wins the big title and Juice has Card Blade. Like, everyone's got a little something.
Juice has Card Blade. God damn, I love Juice Robinson so much.
He's so good. He's so good.
We have a triple threat for the TBS Women's Championship, and that is defending champion Chris Statlander, Skye Blue, Julia Hart.
Julia Hart. But with assistance from Skye Blue, probably.
Yeah. That seems like the most logical place they're going.
And I'm for it. Get the belt off of Stat. No offense to Stat, but get the belt off of her and put Julia up on the pedestal that she's deserved. She's earned, I think.
I'm still not sure Julia's quite ready for a title run, but also that's kind of just what they've set up here. I'm on board with Julia winning the title if it leads to a program with Abaddon. I would be very interested in that.
I mean, to be fair, and we don't know because they got injuries in House of Black all over the place, right? So you could have this dark women's stable running, right? They've teased that because Willow's got mist in her face that she could be a part of that. She doesn't have to be, but you could pull an Abaddon into this somehow, right? Give me this coven.
I like the idea that Willow is too good to be corrupted by the mist.
I do too.
I think that's a good character point for her, but have her realize, all right, I got to go wrestle these two spooky broads. I got to even up the odds. Let me get this demon creature that hangs out back here and spits up blood. That's solid backup.
That could work.
Now we're rocking and rolling.
Yeah. I think that at the end of the day, if you're going to do some sort of stable thing with Julia, right? To me, Julia makes sense having a title. And for what it's worth, the Guns had no business being tag team champions when they were tag team champions either. So I don't mind them giving it a shot, though, taking a swing at it, giving somebody young a belt, at least to test it and see how it goes, right? But if you have Skye Blue, give her somebody else in there. And I don't know, you got enough women on the roster, you can find somebody else you can fit in that spot there. To be that, kind of bigger, like more imposing, Shit, put Nyla Rose in there, right? Have her defend the title against Nyla Rose, spray her with mist, boom, we get Dark Nyla Rose. Yes, please.
I honestly wouldn't mind seeing some outcome of this match being Statlander getting sprayed with the mist and Statlander joining them down the road.
That's good too.
Ooh,
I think Statlander would be a great just kind of muscle piece for that little group.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. They need muscle because you got Skye Blue as the lackey, right? You need a muscle to fit.
Yeah, and it would give you a reason to react to Chris Statlander because she doesn't really do that much on her own.
Yeah,
very talented in the ring, but like I'm always just coming up blank on reasons to care about Chris Statlander.
Yep. Jamie, what are your thoughts on the match?
It's Julia. You have personality yet raw wrestler versus no personality raw wrestler and even less personality but good wrestler.
Least common denominator. Just did a whole Steve Martin thing there. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be a last minute collision or rampage spot, and Willow will get added to the match.
Like, Ruby Soho in the match, and Ruby's going to win the title. Hey, Ruby.
Dude, Ruby just jobbed for Red Velvet. Quit dreaming. All
right. I will
say
say this: DoorDash is horribly unreliable. Yes, you can send anything with DoorDash, but you gotta watch those delivery times. Wait, what? Let's move on. Nothing. You didn't watch Rampage, obviously.
No, not at all. All right. So then the last match we're going over is the team of our father, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne going up against Adam Copeland, Darby Allin, and Sting.
Well, I feel like it's Sting!
But is it better storytelling if he loses here?
No.
I don't think it matters.
I agree.
I
And it's Adam Copeland, too. You can't have Adam Copeland literally losing his, third match?
So having Christian pin Adam Copeland or Sting, I think would be hilarious, and it would get so much heat.
Mm-hmm.
But he already has so much heat, he doesn't need it. And on the flip side, Christian as the TNT champion, he can't lose very often. And a 3-on-3 match is a good time for him to get beat and show a little bit of ass, but he's still the champ. He's still in control of his stable and all that. It makes the most sense for his team to lose.
Yep.
And honestly, probably for Christian to eat a pin here.
From Sting, too.
You think
Honestly,
Christian's gonna eat the pin? You think Christian's gonna eat the pin?
If Christian eats a pin from Sting, that's to your point.
Wayne is totally taking it.
If I'm booking it, Christian eats a pin.
Hear us out, because I'm on board with you, Austin, and you let me know where I'm at here, because Christian eats a pin from Sting. He's been talking all this shit about how he's going to end Sting, right? Copeland sets it up, tags Sting in, Sting comes in, gets the pin, right? So that he just adds more fuel to Christian's fire, his hatred. He grows. Oh, yeah, yes, let me see your hatred, right? And it's going to grow. Honestly, either team could win or lose. It's not going to hurt anybody anything, Mm-hmm. The most likely your scenario is correct. Nick Wayne eats a pin, because that's what you do as a young boy.
Oh, so if I'm booking it, which I'm not, but I've came close a few times, like with my amazing hat. I say it's all three members. So Darby Allin, Sting, and Adam Copeland are in the ring. Here's Christian. He turns around, sees all of them. He's like, oh, and then here comes Nick Wayne. He literally grabs Nick Wayne, throws him into him, and then he gets out. And Nick Wayne gets a finisher from everybody, and then ends up getting a Scorpion Deathlock and taps out.
See, if I'm booking it, it's 3 Scorpion Deathlocks.
Oh, yeah.
Just all 3 of them tap at the same time. This is one of those, to me, it's one of those more classic good guy, bad guy things where the bad guy should lose a fair fight. And they don't have extra guys running in because they are all out there. It's 3-on-3. It's even.
Right.
It's the time for the bad guys to kind of get theirs a little bit.
Yeah. But
they still leave with the TNT title. They've still got the numbers advantage later on. This is just a good spot to have the good guys win.
If Sting
and convincingly
loses an AEW match, which, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, he has not yet.
He has not, as far as I know.
If he loses an AEW match, it will be his last match.
I don't think he should lose that one either.
I don't think he should, but if he does, it will be that one. It'll be for him to put somebody over. Whether they need it or not, if it happens, that'll be it. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really...
I don't see Sting losing.
Yeah. I don't think anyone really gains anything from beating a 60-something-year-old Sting.
No.
This should just be a victory lap.
There's no stakes on this. Even if they win, Sting's not going to retire now, But
yeah.
You can't have Edge lose his first pay-per-view. This is his first pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. There's probably going to be 4 or 5 more matches announced on Rampage and Collision this Friday. So
Sting is actually 20-0, by the way.
We missed one. The Fatal 4-Way for the tag titles.
Oh, yeah, that's on Collision. Yeah, missed that. So Ricky Starks and Big Bill versus...
Is that on Collision? I thought that was on the pay-per-view or on 0 Hour.
You have the card in front of you there, Jamie.
Yeah, I didn't even see it. I'm looking right at it, and it's not even
FTR, LFI, Starks and Big Bill, and the House of Black. That should be fun.
House of Black's back?
Yeah.
Which House of Black? Is it Malachi?
Here it is. Here it is. Yeah, so it's actually the Kings. Yeah, it's the Kings.
Oh, okay. I thought Brody's wrist was still broken.
They show him in the thing.
You only need one wrist when you're his
guy
size.
that big. You should put a club on him. Fuck it.
Like the old school, like 70s and 80s NFL, where they have the big taped up club fist.
Yeah,
the big Q-tip. The big Q-tip.
Big Q-tip.
Boom.
And if you're really in with the equipment guy, you have him like bevel the one edge too, so you can get set down the ground and use it, but you could also get him flat faced and just.
Think of Reggie White. Remember Reggie White had the club on?
Oh yeah. Jerome Brown did that too, man. Oh god. So all right, tag title match. You got
FTR, LFI, Starks and Big Bill, House of Black.
Yep, LFI, Starks Bill, FTR, House of Black.
So LFI, Starks and Bill, FTR. No,
yeah, so it's Dragon Lee and Roosh. That's LFI.
Right.
I know, but just make sure you know it's Dragon.
I'm trying to think if it's gonna be anybody other than FTR. I mean, I would like the House of Black to win it.
Ricky and Bill are gonna retain.
I'm going LFI.
That would be a hell of a swerve there.
I'm going LFI because I'm going Young Bucks winning later. And I think they're going to go to Young Bucks and some luchas. Also, Roosh is super over.
They've been selling the living piss out of LFI too on Collision.
Yeah.
Selling the living piss out of it.
I think this is a good, like Starks and Big Bill have had a decent little run with the tag belts, but they're not really a tag team. And AEW have so many good tag teams. I'd rather see them on like more teams, even though I think Roosh will be a single star before too long. I think this is a good time to give Roosh a little bit of hardware, get him a little bit more over, and then lead to another Bucks versus Luchas match. That'll probably be a banger.
Yeah, but I mean, they're still wanting to set up Bucks FTR like 26.
They can do that some other time.
Yeah, they can always do that. Honestly, I'd prefer they wait to do that till you get to Grand Slam, all in, all out.
Yeah. Save that for when you need something later down the road.
Agreed. Okay. I like LFI. I think that's a hell of a take.
Good. My heart's gonna be with House of Black, though. Of course, I love House of Black, but that doesn't make any sense.
I could see House of Black winning it if Omega and Jericho are going to get the shot instead of the Young Bucks.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
This one's a toss up. I would. The only thing I'm like fairly certain of with this match is that FTR are not winning.
Yeah. That's a tough one, man. Yeah, I gotta think about this.
Can you ever fully count on FTR not getting a tag title? Like fully?
No, you really can't. And I wouldn't be sad about them winning, but I just think they just lost the titles a while back. There's
they don't need them.
You can do more stuff with them.
Yeah, they don't need them. No.
And I really just don't want to see them in the Bucks for the fourth time anytime soon.
Yeah, it's like seeing Bucks and Lucha Bros, right? Love it to death, but just give me a little respite in between. Well, we will find out this Saturday. So check it back with us next Wednesday after the Fallout Dynamite. Hopefully the fall is better than the go home. I enjoyed tonight, though. I did. I didn't mind it as bad as as everybody else here. But we'll be back next Wednesday after the Fallout. We'll let you know how our picks transpired, who the new champion is going to be.
I've proven that I am Georgia in this situation.
Maybe you should be Texas Tech. That maybe be better for you.
I mean, my third string quarterback's not in. I'm like, all right.
yeah, we don't have to worry about that. We just don't lose our first string quarterback. So anyway,
Yeah.
love to see you guys try and face Georgia though. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, it would. It would.
But we'll be back next Wednesday with the results of this, plus the go home or the Fallout show. So join us next week, same bad time, same back channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 4 words for you. I'm stealing Nana's weed.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Later.
Peace.